Hi everybody, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap and welcome to the show. You know, I was thinking back and I believe it was October of 1999 when I first put a fiber on a scrapbook page. While it may have been a little bit cutting edge back then, it certainly isn't now. It's about as commonplace as using paper on our pages. Well, today I've got some fun techniques and some great tools to show you that will help you incorporate both fibers and more into your pages. Well, the first key to using fibers is setting up a good foundation for your page. And what I have here is a piece of Surf's Up paper from Club Scrap. It's a nice 80-pound cover stock, so it's nice and heavy. It's going to give us a great surface for our stitching steps. And I've trimmed it slightly smaller than a 12 by 12 piece. And you can see this is going to layer on top because the back of my paper, when I'm finished with my project, will not look the greatest. And this will also protect all of the stitching on the back side to sandwich it onto another piece of paper. So now that I have that trimmed, I have some photo mats. Now I'm bringing these in a little bit earlier than usual, but I'm going to attach them to my page with temporary repositionable adhesive because I might want to take them off a little bit later or make some adjustments, but at least I have a general idea of where I'm going to want to put my pictures that I have planned for this layout. So now I'm going to bring in some tools that are going to help me prepare my stitching holes for the stitching I'll do a little bit later. What I have here is a cork board and a needle tool, both from Timeless Touches, and these are staples in my scrapbook room. This cork board is 6 by 10, so it's large enough to work on some pretty good sized projects, and it's a good 1/2 inch thick, so when you're piercing your paper, you don't have to worry about damaging a surface underneath. And this needle tool is awesome because it has this cush grip, and it also has the needle tool that starts out very narrow at the tip, and as you work your way up the needle, it gets wider and wider. But one of my favorite features of the tool is actually on this side. It has a hexagon-shaped bit on here, so if I lay it on my table, it doesn't go rolling down onto the floor to do some damage anywhere. Okay, so let's get our cork board underneath our paper. I need one more thing. I need a template. And Timeless Touches also has these Fiber Friend border templates. And I love them because they're flexible and lightweight, but yet sturdy enough. And they're pre-pierced, so it has all of these holes that will help me prepare a path for my stitching. They have a lot of intricate details, but also simple borders as well, which is what I've selected for our page today. I kind of have this wavy thing going on, so I chose this wave template. And the piercing holes on this particular template are wider apart than the other one on this. So you have a lot of different options on each template. I'm just going to rest it on my page, corkboard underneath, and begin with my needle tool to just drop the tip into the holes that are right in the template. And it just helps me plan exactly where I'm going to stitch. All the holes are perfectly spaced, and that just took about 2 seconds. And then what I will do is just go ahead and continue piercing these holes into the paper until I'm satisfied with the number of borders that I plan to create. Well, of course, to save a little time, I've gone ahead and done that on this page. So let me bring this in. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this, but there are tons of little holes right here, all prepared for me to decorate. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is our basic fiber back stitch. Now, Timeless Touches has these little plastic bins. I love how this clever storage thing works, with every color under the sun. And of course, I was able to find a nice blue color that matches my page. Now, I've already gone ahead and threaded my tapestry needle, so I'm ready to go. And I'm going to just simply enter from the back side of the page onto the first hole at the edge. And I'm going to do a classic back stitch. I think I learned this from my mom when I was a little girl. That's about the extent of my fiber training. So you're not working with a pro here, but this is very, very easy to do. So in a back stitch, I'm coming up the next hole and then going down the previous one a second time. And then I just will come up again from the back. And you can see by having that template and all the pre-pierced holes, this makes it very easy. Now, of course, what you will do is stitch the whole way, but I'm just going to do a bit of a sampler here so you can see how this works. I'm going to slide my needle under one of the stitches on the back side of the page. I'll come in with a scissors, and then just using some photo-safe tape, I'm going to secure the end to the back of the layout. We'll have this little fiber border running across all the way, of course. Now, if you're not in the mood for sewing something, there are many other ways we can use these same pre-pierced holes. Take, for example, the mini brad. I love to use brads on my papers. These are really tiny and they can kind of be a challenge to use on your pages, so I never install one without my little pokey tool, which I affectionately call it, and my cork board. So I've got my pre-pierced hole and I'm going to place the mini brad right into the hole and right into the cork board. Now I know a lot of you may not do this, but it just makes placing the brads so much easier. And of course brads come in tons of different colors. They're inexpensive and I think they look great on a page. Now I'm going to carefully pull the ends of the brad out of the cork. I'll turn my paper over and then I'm going to use my needle tool once again. Watch this. Here I have the prongs of the brad, and I don't know if you've ever hurt yourself trying to get these things open or broken a nail or something, but what I love is that the needle helps me get in between those prongs, and I can separate them, and even the metal tip on the other side, all I got to do is squish them down. Now, I have a little trick that I learned a long time ago when I first started learning how to rubber stamp, and I thought this was so neat. Don't tell my daughter Emily, but I did steal her erasable pen out of her backpack, and she loves writing in erasable pen for some reason. I'm going to connect these pre-pierced holes in this row with the tip of my erasable pen, just like you're doing dot to dot. Now, this is the magic. I'm going to use some just opaque white embossing powder, and of course this will work with any color that will pertain to your page. I'm just going to pour the powder over my erasable pen line. And then next I'm going to use my favorite little guy, the Pink Pig. This is from Heritage Handcrafts. And just to let you know, you've got to make a little run to the craft store, pick up a pink pipe cleaner, some pink felt, and some googly eyes. And embossing is just maybe a little more fun than it already is. And melt the powder. This is like the lazy man stitching solution because it looks like I actually have thread in these holes, but it's not, it's fake. And it still gives you the tactile experience of fiber without having to do all the stitching. Love that. Okay, one final little stitching solution for these little decorative rows that I want to show you here, and I'm going to be using some glitter glue. All you simply need to do is use your pre-pierced holes as a guide for the nib of your glue. And I've just chosen a coordinating blue color here, but glitter glue comes in tons of different colors. And I'm just adding a little dot onto each spot. And I'm telling you, it's so much fun, you'll just really want to keep going with this. Well, how about I let you take a look at the final layout. So here we have our title, Braids, which is kind of appropriate. I thought to have the stitch title for that particular heading. And then if you go on over here, you can see how I've incorporated those miniature brads right on top of the photo. And I think that's a really neat touch. I've done the same here with the stitching as well. And I've just brought it right into the photo, and I think it ties it in so well. And then I've mentioned earlier that you can stitch beads onto your pages as well, and I know many of you are looking for ways to incorporate beads. Love that. And then we also had it on the corner as well. And in this case, I've used the brads as an anchor to thread some 32 gauge gold wire onto this card. I think it gives it a very beautiful look. And then I've done a blanket stitch around the perimeter of this card and used a template to create the heart. So there are a lot of different themed templates you can use to make your layouts. Then over here on this layout, I have the butterfly stamped and created a little trail just with some brads that I've inserted in that clever way I showed you using the cork board. And then in this case, I've just left the pierced holes just as they were, completely untreated. And finally, here I have this layout where I, again, have used the embossing powder trick to create the leaves along the right edge of the page. And I think it just really tied it in. And with the gold embossing powder, you have a totally different look. Well, I think it's about time we get busy on incorporating a little bit more fiber into our diet. The scrapbooking diet, that is. See you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.